Yesterday, what was supposed to be a demonstration about complaints in the Republic of Ghana, complaints about hardship, complaints about, in fact, there were others including not only the hardship, they also talks about COVID-19 expenditure accountability. So many of the problems we had in this country and we are still having, and especially the ones that have been aggravated by what's currently happening. It was the main reason the team, after going around, I think they visited some prominent people. I don't know if it was to invite them. The Arise Ghana group, prior to going on the demonstration, they had some banter with the police about what time. They wanted to do this in the evening. In fact, their plan was do it from the evening to the next morning. So straight 2 days, 48 hours. But the police disagreed. Police got, what do you call it, the court to redefine the time for them to do this. So the court agreed that it should be 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. They went to court to try and set it aside, so they have filed a stay of execution and actually filed another, what they call it, win. Now, to them, that was supposed to make them revert to their original plan. And they went to sit with the police to re-agree timelines. So they thought they had some agreement along the line. I was going for my Ghana card when I heard a lot of noise coming from Circle, the GRA office very close to that place. What comes to mind readily is the kind of narratives that are coming out first. The information minister has been saying some very wild things about why we cannot let this slide. He believes that there is a coordinated attempt to destabilize the country. He actually is of the conviction that the state knows right from what was a letter that was seeking to demonstrate, which is not this demonstration, that's all related to this one. That letter said that people were going to carry their own guns. He said right from that time, they've been thinking that there are acts like this in the offing. Especially, they have also connected this to the terrorism in the sub-region and the most recent attacks even in some neighboring countries, creating the environment for that kind of instability. And that's why they are taking it more serious. There's a section of the public order also that he mentioned, that's section 3, which dealt with how organizers are to be held responsible for damages done. The police then issued a statement saying that they are going to do that and they have arrested more people. Will we ever in this country get to the point where we do demonstrations like others do it? People go and protest. Some people go and sit down when they are tired. Remember when the expression Occupy was interested.
Occupy Wall Street.
Yes, the people went to sit there. They will sit there like the whole day. Some people eat food and tents there. They'll go and sit there. Then they'll go home and go and sleep. 2 days, 3 days. Some of them won't bath. Then they will stay there. Will we ever get to a point where the right to protest can be managed in such a way that we not see that as a threat to security? But these are two fundamental issues. States ensure security. Right to protest is also a human right. Which one should be superseding each other, and at what time should we prioritize one over the other?
I suspect that as a nation, there are so many aspects of our military rule past that we are still psychologically anchored to, and we need to divorce ourselves. In the United States, somebody has been doing a one-man demonstration across the road from the White House for decades now.
In fact,
it's now his job.
Demonstration zone just in front of the White House.
Every day he comes to sit there. Everybody who works in the White House knows him. They greet him and walk past him and go in. And he's protesting different issues every day. His placard is up. That's democracy. You see, but democracy must also exist in an ecosystem of security. It's just that the way we implement security is still very, very military.
Brute force oriented.
It's very military in nature. And Winston was making this important point that, look, sometimes the security threat is something you are doing wrong. Do it right, and the threat goes away. I understand that in the meantime, there is a need for physical security to be provided, but you have to understand that sometimes the thing that creates the danger is the presence of friction or the presence of an opposition. Sometimes that is what creates the danger. We need to start getting strategic about it. So 2,000 people want to demonstrate. Is there a need for 500 police officers to accompany them? Is there a way of letting that demonstration go on without the security being so visible like this, but the security being present? Are there ways to do this? Because sometimes the optics creates the conflict. And if indeed government has intelligence that there are attempts to create unrest, if you have the intelligence, it means you have an idea of the source of this unrest. You have some targets that you are observing and monitoring. If that is the case, then could yesterday not have been prevented? Could it not have been avoided? If they knew that this is what would happen yesterday, could it not have been avoided and prevented? I want to ask government that question. At the same time, I want to ask the protesters that where do you get the energy to deliberately pit yourself against the state in such a manner? Are there really no other ways?
I'm mindful of the history.
Right?
Yeah.
Are there really no other ways? Was there no prudence at all, to be used in resolving yesterday's impasse? I don't know. I'm disappointed in all sides.
Yes, I'm disappointed in the protesters, but I think that the protesters, this is what they looked out for, particularly the leaders. They wanted this conversation, maybe. But if this isn't what they looked out for, then they should also begin to ask themselves the simple question, where did we get it wrong? Because the point of a demonstration is you want to send a signal, you want to make a case, you want to make a point. Could they have made their point without necessarily insisting on using the route to the Jubilee House? Or converging at Christ the King?
They actually, in the end, wanted to go to the finance
ministry. Could they have made their point without going to the finance ministry? They could have. Today they would say they want to get to Parliament. Could they have made their point by just converging at the Independence Square? I'm sure they would have. But that notwithstanding, this attitude of the police always trying to interfere with demonstrations and wanting to have a say in what people seek to do should be stopped. So every time someone wants to do a demonstration, then the police says, we will not agree.
And people actually forget that the indication is that they are notified.
Yes.
Not like, I think the police sometimes have the posturing that they are seeking permission.
Yes, permission.
It's not permission,
Yes.
it's a notification. So this pension all the time, oh, we want to embark on a demonstration. This is our route to the demonstration. No, you can't do that. The police must begin to change. Because when you do that all the time, that's when the allegations
Even
of
if you don't have any
executive
motive.
control
Yes, even if you don't have any
arise.
yes.
Look, let's not pretend. Crowds gather in this country for various purposes all the time. Every Saturday, hundreds of people march by the roadside up to Yankson, whatever, for fitness.
And end up eating fufu after that.
Thank you. I mean, that is another violation of the Constitution.
On that note,
but the point is this.
Yeah.
Crowds gather.
Yeah.
There is not always a need for the police to police these gatherings. So is it really the case that no demonstration can happen without the heft of the entirety of the police force being brought to bear on it, so that the police have to go and assess their resources to determine whether or not somebody can exercise their constitutional right? Charlie, we have to look at some of these things again.